Hi, I'm Richard Rogers, and I absolutely hope that you enjoyed today's spiritual message. You know, we at Unity of Phoenix Spiritual Center are committed to helping people live better lives. We're going to provide you tools over and over, spiritual tools that allow you to live your best possible life. And if you want to leave a donation to continue to allow the work that we do to support other people just like you, we say thank you. Thank you for your generosity, because this ministry is committed to making the world a better place.
All right. So this month I'm doing a series called Open Your Mind to Receive, based on a Catherine Ponder book by the same title, Open Your Mind to Receive. And there are three basic premises that I'm working from in this series. The first one is that God is infinite, right? And I really want you just to open your mind, your heart, your soul to that experience. That God is infinite, that I am connected to the infinite, that I access the infinite, I'm accessing the divine, I'm accessing my right relationship with the divine, and that every one of us, through our own consciousness, gets to decide how much I'm blessed, how much you're blessed. So that you get to decide over and over again how much you're blessed. And that we all have the ability to say yes or no to the infinite flow. And sometimes we say no so often that we really think there's just not enough to go around, or that I'm not really worthy of it. But what we know to be true is that God is infinite, that you are connected to the infinite, and that you get to decide how radically, wonderfully blessed you are. Now, what's interesting about this for me, and I'm going to, okay? So I do not believe that God is up in the sky, all right? But I'm trying to use imagery in a two-dimensional experience to draw ideas, okay? So when I put God at the top of the arrow, I don't expect you all to look up to find him, okay? Does that make sense? You can look up and you will find him. If you look down, you will find him. If you look to the right, you will find him. You know, so I just need to make sure, because I don't want to keep that image of Big Daddy God somewhere in the sky up there, right? So God, right? And that's me, right? Now, see, the problem is this whole hierarchy, but just right? So what I want to deal with the idea of how we create blessings. Because blessings are kind of funny. Because blessings really are expanding our relationship with the divine, right? So as we do our affirmations, or as we do our prayer work, or as we do our healing work, as we do our forgiveness work, we actually expand our connection with the divine, and when we actually download more good. But how many of you, when you wake up in the morning, there's money in your pocket that you had no idea how it got there? Right? How many of you, when you get up in the morning, open the refrigerator, and there's just a few extra gold bars, right? Or you go into your prayer time and gold nuggets are just dropped out of the ethers into your lap, right? So it doesn't always make sense how, when we do our spiritual work, how that blessing and that spiritual work shows up in physical form, right? How, you know, you get a new client, or you get a raise, or whatever happens. So you do your spiritual work, and then the universe finds these really interesting, creative ways to bless you, but you can't always see, well, that moment of forgiveness created that level of abundance, but you know there's a relationship. So we do our spiritual work, right? But the way that most of us get blessed is in relationship with others. Does that make sense? So you do your spiritual work, and then you get blessed in your relationship with others. So we have to be willing to deal with people if we want to be more blessed. Now, some of us think life is great, that people are the problem. Right? You know, just give me my dog and, you know, one person at a time and I'm good to go, right? And so my daughter has a shirt that just says, "Give me all the dogs," right? And the idea is that we're kind of okay with this idea of looking to God as our source, but the way that blessings show up is in relationship with others. And some of us are just still mad about that. That we're just mad that, well, why can't you just drop it right in my lap? You know, you got my address, just mail me a check, right? So what I want to do tonight is, we've been working really hard on doing the spiritual work. And now I want to make sure that your relationship with others, that we clean that up now. Because for most of us, the way that we are truly experience the blessings of God is in relationship with others. But if we don't clean that up, we keep putting hurdles in the way of the blessings of God, right? So God is our source, right? God is our source. Everybody willing to believe that? So God is our source, but then the channels are everybody around you. And what we want to do is make sure that our relationship with all the channels in our life, all the people in our life, all the relationships in our life are optimum so that we get to be blessed in the easiest possible way, right? Because we don't want to have any blockage to our good, right? Because this whole series is called Open Your Mind to Receive. So we don't want to have anything that is blocking us from receiving. Now, as we do our forgiveness work, does that increase the blessings in our life? I would suggest yes. As we release our resentments, does that increase the blessings in our life? I would suggest yes. So what I want us to do is I want us to look at what are the relationships and what do we need to do to clean those things up so that we get to be the most wonderfully blessed possible. Again, Catherine Ponder. Open your mind to receive. As a spiritual being made in the image and likeness of God, you have dominion over your world. Can I read that again? You have dominion over your world. Anybody ever feel like a victim? We all do, right? We all do from time to time feel like a victim. And I want you to hear that again. That you have dominion over your world. That means that you have the freedom concerning the kind of people that come into your world and that leave it. You have the freedom to change your world. If you do not like your world or the people in it, there's something that you can do about it because you have been given the gift of people consciousness. Most people thought that the opposite. They thought there was nothing they could do about the people in their world, that they were helpless. They had to just tolerate it and suffer along with these people. It's not true. You can affect change by changing your people consciousness, your attitude about people, your consciousness, which is both thoughts and feelings, is the results of the ideas that you've held in mind. You can change your consciousness by changing the ideas that you hold mentally and emotionally. Instead of trying to change the people in your world, you should work to change your thoughts and feelings about those people. My entire life is here to bless me. Will you say that with me? My entire life is here to bless me. One more time. My entire life is here to bless me, right? Let me go on. All the people in your world are there through the law of attraction. How many of you have heard the law of attraction? How many of you do not want to be responsible for drawing some people into your life? How many want to say that I'm a big fat victim, that I drew that person into my life, that I couldn't have drawn that person into my life, that they just implanted themselves into my life, and I have no responsibility in them showing up? All the people in your world are there through the law of attraction. Either consciously or subconsciously, you've attracted them through the power of thoughts and feelings into your life, and perhaps even some into other times. Some mystics claim that everyone you meet, you have known before. They claim that the bonds of love or hate have attracted these people from your past. They feel that you are together again by divine appointment to learn lessons and to complete emotional assignments. Yay! Yay, I am so excited, please. Right? So I want you to, so we're going to do a lot of work tonight. And the first thing I want you to look at is I want you to make a list of everybody you need to forgive. Right? I want you to make a list of everybody you need to forgive, because as you forgive, do you become more blessed or less blessed? More blessed. Would you be willing to forgive everyone in your life if it was absolutely guaranteed that you were going to increase the blessings in your life? Now, when you forgive them, are you doing it for them? Yes. Right? So if you give a gift to me, if you forgive me, if you release me, if you send me love, is that a blessing to me? Sure it is. But as I give, so shall I receive. So are we here to be stingy? No. We are here to be just like God. We are here to be generous in all things. So there are people that are dirty dogs. Now, God doesn't say that, right? But we sometimes judge people as dirty dogs. And do dirty dogs deserve to be forgiven? No. They don't deserve it because they're dirty dogs. But we forgive them anyway. Does that make sense? So if I come and I run over you, do I deserve to be forgiven? Not really. I ran over you. But as you forgive me anyway, does that increase the blessings into your life? Because you're not holding on to the anger, the resentment. You're not holding on to the victimization. You've actually set yourself free. So I don't deserve it, but you forgive me anyway because you want that big of a blessing. If you're checking to see who deserves your forgiveness and who doesn't deserve your forgiveness, you're spending way too much time in judgment. Whether they deserve it or not, the gift is as you forgive, you are more blessed. If you're going around looking at your life and saying, who deserves my forgiveness? You're not doing forgiveness. Because the people you forgive don't deserve it, and you're going to do it anyway. Because as you forgive, you open up the line so that you get to be more blessed than you've ever had before. If you're checking to make sure that 10 years later they now deserve your forgiveness, you've missed the point of forgiveness. They may never deserve your forgiveness, and you're going to forgive them anyway because you want to be more blessed. I forgive every dirty dog. Will you say that with me? Together. I forgive every dirty dog, and I am ready to be wildly blessed. Together. I forgive every dirty dog, and I am ready to be wildly blessed. And you say, Richard, you're not supposed to judge. Got it. Forgive me. Right? But the whole idea is, I want you to set yourself free. I want you to set yourself free. That your relationships with others is just as important as your relationship with God. Any little bubble, any little resentment, any little upset is actually getting in the way of you being more blessed. And I want you to be surrounded by great people. And sometimes somebody shows up in our life and they don't actually look like a great person. They don't feel like a great, or they don't act like a great person, but it calls forth the greatness in us. It challenges us to be the best version of your life, because I would love it if you could just go into your little meditation room and pray and gold bars would fall out of the ceiling. I would love that, right? Then we could just all go to our own little cave, our own little meditation room, and we would just pray, and we would just decide, and it would just instantly manifest. But for most of us, we do our inner work, and it shows up in relationship with others. Then we get a phone call, or we get an opportunity, or we get a new job, because as we do our inner work, the universe blesses us and finds the right people to put in front of us that bless us in exactly the way that we need to be blessed. And as they bless us, that blessing comes back to them over and over and over again. So would you be willing to release all negativity that you have with others? Right? So, and if you released all negativity, would you be willing to be open and receptive to all the good that people have for you? See, I really want you to get that as you do this level of work, right? Because it's not just about doing your work with God. It would actually be easier if you just had to do your work with God. But we're in relationship with each other. You know, Jesus said, you love the Lord your God with all your mind, your heart, your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Does anybody kind of get an idea what this kind of looks like? What does it look like to you? A cross, right? And the idea is this is the spiritual side of us, and this is the human side of us. And the human side of us is surrounded with what? Other humans. And some of us are still mad that we're not the only person on the planet, that we have to keep sharing it with all these other people. But this is where you get blessed. You do the inner work here, but you get blessed here. I release all negativity that I have with any other person, and I open the door to God's infinite blessings. See, over and over again, you've been placed in a giant rock grinder. Right? You know what happens with a rock grinder? You ever had one of those when you were a kid? You put them in there and you put like 30 rocks in there, and they put them in and you leave them for like a month or 70 years, or 80 years, 90 years. And the idea is that we get polished, right? And so all the little bumps, all the little things, we get polished by grinding them against each other. And the person that is the most annoying for you is also oftentimes the person that gives you the greatest blessings. So there's 3 things that I want you to look at tonight about having great people in your life. The first one is that every person in my life is here to bless me. Right? I want you to just open that thought. That every person in my life is here to bless me. Like, as you're driving down the road, seriously, I want you to go, he's here to bless me. She's here to bless me. He's here to bless me. I want you to see that the whole universe is here to bless you, right? Even the most annoying person is here to bless you, right? Every person is here to bless you. Every person is here to bless you. And I want you to get that mindset. I want you to have that actual feeling that every person is here to bless you. Every person is here to bless you. And number 2, guess what? I'm here to bless everybody else. That your blessings, you're that important. I'm here to bless you. I'm here to bless you. I sound like Oprah Winfrey. And you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car, right? But the idea is that I'm here to bless everyone that God puts into my life. Now, if I begin to live from that mindset that everyone is here to bless me and I'm here to bless everyone else, does that increase my blessings or decrease my blessings? I think it increases your blessings because you're looking at every person that you're actually willing to give them a gift of your blessing and receive the gift of their blessing. Now, to some people's blessing you would rather not have? Yes, right? Some people's personality or their attitude or their perfume or whatever it is, you just don't want it, right? So what do we do when we're in resistance to the way somebody is? How many of you have tried to push somebody out of your life and they just wouldn't go? Right? So some people are in our life for a reason that we haven't accepted their blessing yet. And at a soul level, they don't have permission to leave until we get their blessing, until they get ours. Right? So sometimes the most difficult people in your life are just there in just absolutely spiritual service to you because you haven't been willing to bless them yet. And they do not have permission to leave until they get your blessing. And they don't have permission to leave until you get their blessing. So there's two people at odds with each other, having a really hard time because neither one of them really wants to receive the gift that the other person is offering. And so you just spend lifetimes in this drama dance because nobody's willing to really receive the gift that's being offered. And that when you do receive the gift, when you do have the healing, one of the things that's just true, and the third point that I want to make about this is that as you heal, your relationships either get better or they go away. Everybody have somebody that when you finally healed, when you finally got their blessing, it was amazing how easily and quickly that person moved out of your life because you weren't in alignment. You attracted them for a reason, for a moment, for an experience, and then once you got the experience, it was time for them to go. They weren't here forever. They were here till you got the thing that they came for. So here's what I want. First level of homework is I really do want you to have a forgiveness list. I want you to look at all your relationships right now, in your family, in your friends, in your working relationships, and just ask yourself honestly, who do I still need to forgive, right? Just who do I need to forgive, and do that level of work. I also want you to be willing to look at, who am I jealous of? Right? And maybe you're going to say nobody, and that's fine, right? But I just want you to notice, is there anybody you think is more blessed than you are? And that you're just paying attention to how blessed they are, right? I want you just to notice that. I want you to really notice that. Because I want you just to, because one of the underlying premises is that what God does for one, God can do for all. Right? And what's good for one, at some level, if it's the highest and the best for one, it has to be the highest and the best for all. And so I just want you to notice, and instead of getting after them, I want you to actually acknowledge that your soul wants more blessings. That when you're jealous or when you're noticing somebody who's really blessed and maybe you're feeling a little bit of envy or maybe you're feeling a little, and trying not to and trying to be spiritual and say, no, I shouldn't feel that way. What I want you to rather say is, God, I'm open to that level of blessing. I am ready for that level of good. I am open and receptive to all the good that you have for me. Because what I want you to see is that as we acknowledge where we need to do our forgiveness work, and when we acknowledge where we're a little jealous or where we need to do that, I want you to really see that that's our path to greater good. That because one person is blessed in a greater way doesn't mean you can't be blessed in that greater way. I want you to actually claim that level of good that they're living in their life, and that we're willing to do the inner work to clean it up so that we get to be that blessed. Because if God has it for one, God has it available for all of us because God is infinite. The last thing, third homework assignment I want you to look at. One of the things she talks about in this chapter that I loved is she invited people to create a people map. Now, anybody know what a treasure map is? A treasure map is when you take usually a poster board or picture, and you put all the things that you desire. And the idea is so that you begin to visualize the level of good you want in your life. What Catherine Ponder talks about in this chapter, she talks about a people map. And she invites us to look at the kind of people we want in our life. If you want more loving people in your life, you want happier people in your life, you want be surrounded by more successful people in your life, whatever it is that you want, she invites you to make a people map so that you're actually drawing those people into your life over and over and over again, right? Because as we align ourselves, because we're always attracting all the good that we can imagine, as we align ourselves with our greatest desires, it becomes easier for us to be blessed. So what we usually focus on when the treasure map is we usually focus on things. You know, I want this car. I want my house to look like this. I want to make this much money. We focus on things. But for most of us, our relationships are actually equal to or more important than our stuff. And what if you began to intentionally create the people you want to invite into your life? Like, you want kinder people in your life? Create an image of what kind people would look like for you. You want more loving people in your life? Create an image of more loving people in your life. You want people that are more fun? Create that. That you can actually create the people that you're surrounded by. Because it's all about attraction. So, if the law of attraction says that I have to be it to draw it to me, and I begin to want to create people that are happier, kinder, more loving, guess what I'm going to have to do to manifest or experience that? I'm going to have to be loving, more loving. I'm going to have to be more kind. I'm going to have to be happier. I'm going to have to be more successful. And as I do my inner work, I draw that to me. That over and over again, what I want you to see is that I want you to be surrounded by great people. And you can say, well, Richard, everybody's a great person. Yes. But not everybody knows they're a great person. And if I don't know that I'm a great person, I don't act like a great person. And I want you to have people in your life that inspire you to be better. I want to have you have people in your life that will love you unconditionally, that will challenge you to be better, that will call forth the highest and the best with you. The people in your life that will cause you to rise to be the best version of you because you want to be for them who they're being for you. See, we can just hang out with anybody. And sometimes we hang out with people because we think that's what we deserve. Or that's who we've always hung out with. And I actually want you to have great people around you who know they're great, who are living their greatness, who are inspired to be the best version of themselves, and who call you up. And as we do that, we become more and more blessed because God is infinite. But I want you to, as we open our mind to receive, I want you to have the highest experience of relationships possible. For your friends, for your family, for the people you work with. I want this to be the best time of your life. Okay, you ready? 3 homework assignments. Ready? The first one is forgiveness. The second one is I want you to notice who you're jealous of. Richard, I'm so spiritual, I never get jealous. Okay, well then you don't have to do 2. Okay, and 3, I want you to create a people map. I want you to create an image of the people, the friends, the connections, the relationships you want in your life because I want you to be surrounded by greatness. Will you pray with me? And I invite you to open your mind, your heart, your soul to the activity of God. That today we stand in the glory of God. And we know that in our connection with God that we are infinitely blessed. And then we do all of our human work. We do all of our forgiveness work. We do all our release work. And as we heal, we create greater and greater and more meaningful relationships. So tonight we give thanks for all the people in our life that have ever blessed us. And we make a commitment to be an even greater blessing to the world. And so it is. Amen.